Disability rights are human rights, a fundamental principle that should be recognized and upheld by all. They are crucial for a just and equitable society, ensuring that everyone, regardless of their abilities, has the opportunity to thrive. In the United States, millions of people live with disabilities, each with unique experiences and challenges. This means they may face extra challenges in their lives, from physical barriers to social stigmas. Disability policies directly affect the lives of these individuals and their families, shaping their access to essential services and support. These policies address healthcare, employment, education, and community living, all critical areas for ensuring full participation in society. It's important to understand the stances of political leaders on these issues, as their decisions can have profound impacts. In the 2024 presidential election, disability policy is a key issue that voters should pay close attention to. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have very different views on this topic, reflecting their broader political philosophies. Understanding these differences is essential for voters with disabilities and their allies, as it will guide their choices at the polls. This video will examine the contrasting approaches of Trump and Harris on disability policy, providing a detailed comparison. It will analyze their positions on healthcare, employment, education, and community living, highlighting the potential impacts of their policies. By comparing their stances, we can better understand how their potential presidencies might impact the lives of people with disabilities, ensuring informed voting decisions. Healthcare is a major concern for people with disabilities. They often have higher healthcare needs and costs. The Affordable Care Act, or ACA, provided important protections for people with disabilities. This included coverage for pre-existing conditions and essential health benefits. Donald Trump repeatedly attempted to repeal the ACA. This would have had devastating consequences for people with disabilities. His administration also made cuts to Medicaid. Medicaid is a lifeline for many people with disabilities. It provides them with access to healthcare and long-term services and supports. Kamala Harris strongly supports the ACA and Medicaid expansion. She believes healthcare is a right, not a privilege. Harris is committed to protecting and strengthening these programs. She understands that access to affordable, quality healthcare is essential for people with disabilities to thrive. Employment is crucial for economic independence and social inclusion. It allows individuals to support themselves and their families and to participate fully in society. People with disabilities often face significant barriers to employment, which can limit their opportunities and potential. These barriers can include discrimination, lack of accommodations, and inaccessible workplaces, making it difficult for them to find and keep jobs. The Trump administration took a deregulation approach to disability employment, aiming to reduce government intervention. They argued that this would boost businesses and create jobs, believing that less regulation would lead to more opportunities. Critics argued that these changes weakened protections for workers with disabilities, potentially making it harder for them to secure fair employment. They also expressed concerns about changes to Ability One, a key program for disability employment. Ability One is a program that provides employment opportunities for people with disabilities, helping them gain valuable work experience. Kamala Harris believes in the power of inclusive employment and the positive impact it has on communities. She supports policies that promote equal opportunities for people with disabilities, ensuring they have the same chances as everyone else. This includes raising the minimum wage and enforcing anti-discrimination laws, which are crucial for fair treatment in the workplace. Harris also advocates for increased funding for job training and support services, recognizing the importance of skill development. She believes that everyone deserves the chance to contribute to society and achieve financial security, regardless of their abilities. Education is a fundamental right for all children. This includes children with disabilities. They deserve access to quality education that meets their individual needs. The Trump administration proposed cuts to special education programs. They also favored giving more control to states and local districts. Advocates for students with disabilities criticized these proposals. They argued that these changes would harm the progress made in ensuring inclusive education. Kamala Harris is a strong supporter of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. IDEA guarantees a free and appropriate public education for all students with disabilities. She is committed to fully funding IDEA and ensuring that all schools have the resources to meet the needs of their students with disabilities. Harris also supports increased funding for mental health services in schools. Community living and integration. People with disabilities have the right to live independently in their communities, just like anyone else. This requires access to affordable and accessible housing, reliable transportation, and comprehensive support services tailored to their needs. The Trump administration proposed changes to Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, which is a critical lifeline for many. SSDI provides essential income support to people with disabilities who are unable to work due to their conditions. These proposed changes raised significant concerns about potential cuts to benefits, which could impact the quality of life for many. The administration also sought to impose work requirements for Medicaid recipients, adding another layer of complexity. Critics argued that these requirements would create unnecessary barriers to healthcare for people with disabilities who are unable to work. Kamala Harris supports the Disability Integration Act, which aims to protect the rights of people with disabilities. This act would guarantee the right of people with disabilities to live in their communities, ensuring they are not forced into institutions. She is committed to protecting SSDI and ensuring that it provides adequate support for beneficiaries, allowing them to live with dignity. Harris also advocates for making public spaces and transportation fully accessible to people with disabilities, promoting inclusivity. She believes that everyone deserves the opportunity to live with dignity and independence in their communities, regardless of their abilities. Trump and Harris' divergent paths on disability. The contrasting approaches of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on disability policy reflect their fundamentally different philosophies. Trump's policies often emphasize deregulation, state control, and personal responsibility. Critics argued that these policies often came at the expense of vulnerable populations. This includes people with disabilities. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, has consistently championed the rights of people with disabilities. Her policy positions reflect a commitment to social justice, equality, and inclusion. She believes in the power of government to create a more just and equitable society for all. The impact on the disability community. The outcome of the 2024 presidential election will have profound implications for the disability community. A Trump presidency, with its focus on deregulation and cuts to social programs, would likely pose significant challenges for people with disabilities. They could face reduced access to healthcare, education, employment, and community living supports. A Harris presidency, with its emphasis on civil rights, social justice, and inclusion, would likely be more favorable for people with disabilities. Her administration would likely prioritize policies that promote equality, opportunity, and access for all. Looking ahead, the future of disability policy. Regardless of who wins the election, the fight for disability rights will continue. The disability community is resilient and politically active. They will continue to advocate for their rights and demand that their voices be heard. The future of disability policy will depend on the ongoing engagement of people with disabilities, their families, and their allies. It is essential to hold elected officials accountable for their promises and to push for policies that promote inclusion, equality, and opportunity for all. A call for action. Disability rights are human rights. They are not up for debate. It is imperative that all citizens, regardless of their political affiliation, understand the importance of disability policy and its impact on the lives of millions of Americans. As we move forward, let us commit to building a society where people with disabilities are valued, respected, and fully included in all aspects of life. This requires a collective effort from policymakers, advocates, and everyday citizens. By working together, we can create a more just and equitable future for all. Please like and subscribe to learn more about disability rights and how you can make a difference.